CC, CEO, wanna change your life? Come see me, yo. I'ma teach you how to build up wealth for your family, not just for yourself. I'm a bestseller, a house flipper, a businesswoman, a go-getter, a big investor, a goal builder that can teach you to get richer like millions, baby. You really about to fill your savings. You about to have multiple streams to pass your children, baby. Let me teach you to get your credit on track in the long run. You'll make it all back at Catalyst and watch it all psychology black-owned firm, but we ain't all black.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Constance Carter. What's happening? This is a Grow Your Money podcast where we talk about how to grow your money and not blow your money, because if you blow your money, it ain't a damn thing funny. Listen, you guys, come on in. I know. I told y'all that I wasn't going to be on Tuesdays, but here I am because I didn't come yesterday, and I know y'all missed me. How many people out there missed me yesterday? Because you know I always come on Mondays, and Monday Mondays is always lit because we try to talk about things to help you to grow your money and not blow your money. And so I didn't get a chance to come live yesterday, but go tell all your friends, go tell all your family that we live, and we're going to have a great conversation today. Okay. So if this is your first time rocking with us, there's a couple of things I need you to do before we get going. Okay. So there are rules to this. There are rules. So the first thing, so for all the people who are just watching for the first time, if this is your first time on here, put in the comments, this is my first time, because we want to shout you out. This is interactive. This is engaging. This is not anything. This is not a monologue. This is a dialogue. So in order for this thing to work, I need you to talk back to me and talk black to me. Okay. So I see Karen. I see you out there from the Bronx. Hey, listen, one of your fellow New Yorkers is going to be on here today, and it's going to be a treat. So, and I want you to go and visit her place of business, but we're going to talk about it in a minute. So who else we got on here? I see you, Karen. Thank you. And so if this is your first time on here, put in the comments that this is my first time. That's number one. Number two, where are you watching from? Because I know we have people that watch from all over the world, whether you are in the United States, California, Texas, Chicago, New York, whether you're across the pond. You know, I always love to shout out the people who are watching from Europe and Africa and all those places. So if you're from another country, put that in there too. But wherever you are from, make sure that you put in the comments. I want to know, where are you watching from? Okay. So that's the second thing. Thirdly, here's the most important thing. Is if you have a Black-owned business. Okay, I see you, Carmen. It's your first time watching. All right. You from the USA? Where are you from in the USA, Carmen? What's up, Booker? What's up, Big Booker T? From Fort Worth, Texas. What's happening? This is the most important part. And I know the people who tune in all the time. What's up from New York City, Miss Naomi? What's up, Naomi? The biggest thing is if you are a Black-owned business, it is extremely important that you put your business, if you're Black-owned business or you know a Black-owned business, it's important that you put it in the comments. Why is it important that you put your Black-owned business in the comments? It's important that you put your Black-owned business in the comments because we have to work together. It is important, it is essential that if we are to close this wealth gap, that we support each other. Here's the thing. In 2017, there was an article that said by the year 2053, the median wealth of Black people was going to be a zero. That's a bad thing. And not far behind that, Hispanic median wealth was going to be a zero as well. While our white counterparts, their net worths were exceeding and excelling, ours were on the decline. I don't believe that though. And I talk about it on my TED Talk. It's called Google That Shit. And if you haven't seen it, it's one of the best TED Talks I've ever seen. I mean, I got over 440,000 views, and I think it was a really dope TED Talk. But I talk about how to close the wealth gap because there is a problem. There has been disparities. There has been systematic racism and redlining, predatory lending, all of the things that have held us back. And I talk about it on my social media all the time. So I always try to give you a historical perspective of why we're in the situation that we're in. It's a lot of gaslighters that are out there that will talk about the crime in Black communities, that will talk about, the poverty and that celebrate the decline of Black people. But I want to always talk about how we can uplift each other. And one of the problems of our community is that the dollar does not stay in our community over 6 hours. That's a real problem. It's a problem that in other communities, you have your Jewish communities that the dollar circulates 30 days, and you have the Asian community that the dollar circulates 20 days, and you have the Hispanic community that the dollar circulates 11 days, white community 17 days, but the Black community 6 hours. That's a whole problem. But it's not absolutely our fault. The reason why the dollar doesn't circulate in our communities is because we don't have Black-owned businesses. I don't know if you know that only 3% of businesses in Black communities are Black owned. What does that mean? Well, we can't spend money with businesses if we don't have businesses. And so what ends up happening is you go to a Black community, you go to a Black neighborhood, you'll see a Hispanic owned business, you'll see a Jewish owned business, you'll see an Arab owned business, you'll see a white owned business. But if you go to an Arab community or a Jewish community or a white community or Hispanic community, you'll never see a Black owned business. That's a problem. So now it is time for us to start creating our own businesses. It's time for us to build intergenerational legacies with our businesses. And that's the reason why I want to have this conversation with you today, because I want to talk to you about somebody who has created an intergenerational legacy. But the reason why I'm bringing her on here is because it's something that you can do too. So every day that I come live, I just want to inspire you to be able to do the same and let you know that if we can do it, if I can build a business, the largest Black owned real estate firm in California, if she can build an intergenerational fashion clothing line, she's an icon, she's done all these great things, you can do it too. And there are some basic core things to the reason why she was able to do it. And we want to inspire you today to do the same thing. So Tyson said, I have a business idea. Help a brother out. Well, you know what, Tyson? Guess what? Last weekend, I just did a one-day training. It was called Bring Your Idea to Life. And you didn't make it. But that's one of the things that I did this weekend. And let me just tell you about it. Let me just tell you what the people who came to the training said.
So you helped me be motivated to move forward, and you helped me build my confidence. You didn't make it intimidating, and you gave us a framework to go by, and you just normalized it. It's not as scary as when you think from the outside looking in. It's less scary.
You gave a lot of information, so much in taking right now, and you were down to earth about everything. Allowed us to be free and to open up ourselves to you about how we feel, what we want to do, what we want to invest in. And you gave us a lot of tips that will help us to grasp what we need in order to move forward. And I appreciate that.
You, I feel, have given each of us the things that we need. Each of us have our own individual strengths. And I feel that you just really helped us enhance that. And Sky said you've given us the confidence and the boost to know that we can do anything we set out to do. I know that we're all going to be successful in what we set out to do.
I learned so much today, and I'm just amazed so much. I wish I had knew before I even opened up my business, going on someone else's advice, which didn't even really work out for me. But I learned so much as far as how the steps to start your business and to try to get it out there, and how important marketing is.
I just have to believe in myself and know that I do have great ideas and continue to push forward. Know that there are people who are primarily probably in the same category with me, but just keep going. But this class was good because you allowed us to interact with you and you just not talk the whole time. I would say that you allowed us to be able to come off mic and say what we needed to say or ask questions, and it was very informative.
So I'm so glad that you brought that up, Tyson Williams, because I am actually doing another training, and I'm actually making it a 2-day training. So it was so impactful. It was so powerful that we had to make it a 2-day training. So listen, this is what you're going to get when you come to this 2-day training. It is now a 2-day training. I'm doing it September 6th and 7th. Okay. So what you're going to learn how to set clear and attainable goals. You're going to learn how to identify, attract, and speak to your ideal client. I'm going to show you how to create your unique value proposition so that it explains why you are the best solution in the market. I'm going to teach you how to brand your business to connect and to convert your clients. You're going to be able to build a brand that resonates emotionally and visually. I'm going to also show you how to build to make your business too legit to quit. I'm going to show you how to build up your entity, protect your business entity, to choose the right structure and understand how to legally protect your business. I'm going to also show you how to trademark. I'm going to show you the trademarking basics of how to build your business. Learn how to safeguard your name, your logo, your intellectual property, how to market your business with confidence, how to master the difference between branding and marketing, because they're two very, very different things. I'm going to show you how to create a compelling what's in it for me statement. Okay. I'm going to show you how to monetize and build multiple revenue streams. I'm going to show you how to pitch with your power. All those things in this 2-day training. Plus, you're going to get coaching from me. I'm going to give you 30 minutes of free coaching that goes on to this. Now I charge $500 an hour for coaching. Okay. And people pay this. I'm going to give you templates. I'm going to give you the business toolkit. You're going to walk away with templates and tools and worksheets. You're going to get a private online community, and you're going to get ongoing inspiration from people in your community. All of that. So go to Bring Your Idea to Life. That is going to help you to get clear on your business. You're going to go from ideation to manifestation to monetization. If you're really serious about building a business, and that's what is so important, ladies and gentlemen, that's why I come here every single day, because it's not just about talking about money. It's how do I get there? A lot of you don't have the confidence to start, to launch. You don't have the tools, the knowledge, the know-how, the wisdom. And so that's the purpose of this training. And I've converted it from a 1-day to a 2-day because there's so much information and their brains were about to explode. But I'm gonna give you a little time to rest, give you a little time in between. And then we're going to pick back up on Sunday. So it's going to be a Saturday and a Sunday, but I'm going to give you everything that I know, everything that helped me to create my business, largest Black-owned real estate firm in California. I wrote several books, best-selling books, published myself. I didn't even know what the hell I was doing. And I made bestseller on my first book that I wrote. Yeah. I'm a cannabis investor. I have a cannabis dispensary. I have, just several revenue streams. And I'm going to show you how to start with one, become the subject matter expert at one, monetize that, become an expert, and then you can branch off and do all of the other things as well. So if you are interested, I want you to go to Bring Your Idea, 2life.com. I don't have my helper here today, but Bring Your Idea to life.com. I'm trying to find the thing. Bring Your Idea, 2life.com if you want to sign up for this training. Okay. So before I bring my special guest, one more thing. I don't know if you guys know, for the ladies, we have the Net 7 Nation. OMG. The Net 7 Nation is coming to a city near you September the 1st. And we are so excited about helping all these Black women. I don't know if you know, there is a African proverb that says, when you teach a man, you teach an individual. But when you teach a woman, you teach a nation. That's when Net 7 Nation.
The countdown begins. The movement is growing, and the moment you've been waiting for is finally here. Net 7 Nation is launching September 1st, 2025, a nationwide sisterhood of powerful women building wealth, shifting mindsets, and changing generations. This is more than a community. It's a movement. It's legacy. It's your time. Get on the list now and be the first to register for this life-changing experience. Net 7 Nation, because when you teach a woman, you teach a nation.
So let me tell you a little bit about what Net 7 is. So after building my business, actually, you know what? I have a video. Let me just show you real quick. That way I won't have to bore you.
I never thought I'd be starting over. After over 20 years of marriage, 4 beautiful children, and building the largest Black-owned real estate firm in California, I thought I finally arrived. Life was good. I was making money. I had a team, investments, a mortgage company. Everything I had worked for, prayed for, bled for, I'd built with my own hands. And then my whole world shifted. Divorce hit me like a wrecking ball. So I abruptly packed up my life. I left my business and I moved across the country. Not because I had it all figured out, because I needed some space to breathe. And what most people don't know is I was able to walk away and take a 2-year break because I had built passive income. That's what freedom looks like. Having my money work for me when I couldn't even work for myself. And during that time of stillness, I prayed, I fasted, I asked God, what's now? That's when He gave me the vision for Net 7 Collective. I looked around and I realized most of the people who worked for me were Black women. My tribe, my circle, all Black women. And I saw what we needed. We needed wealth. We needed healing. We needed options. We needed each other. I wanted to empower women who looked like me, who had given their all to everybody else, to finally pour into themselves, to build businesses, to invest, to write books, to own something. And baby, they did. Over 80 women all across the country and even globally had increased their net worth. They grew new income streams and they stepped into their power that they didn't even know that they had. But beyond the money, they found sisterhood. And now we're building Net 7 Nation because this movement is bigger than just a cohort. This is grassroots. This is legacy. And if you're a Black woman or you know one who's ready to get free, not just financially, but spiritually, emotionally, generationally, it's time. Welcome to Net 7 Nation.
So we've basically taken our cohort, our inner circle of Black women from all over the country, from all walks of life that I coach, as a result of them going through my program, they've started businesses, they've gotten government contracts, they've elevated their businesses. We have doctors, lawyers, we have IT professionals, stay-at-home moms, we have real estate professionals, we have entertainers. All types of people have come through our program and they've elevated their businesses. They've increased their net worth. They started investing in real estate. They started investing in stock. They have created legacies for their family, for their children and their children's children. And so what we've done is we're taking that mission and we're bringing it to cities near you. What does that mean? That we are having local communities of Net 7 Nation. Well, not only are you going to be learning virtually from our leaders inside our group, but we'll also have community engagement where we'll do local events and we'll do charitable events and we'll do just some networking so that you can be around like-minded Black women. And I know somebody on here said, well, what about men? I understand. That's why I have the Grow Your Money Club. I have the Grow Your Money Club. You can go into my training. I have over 30 trainings. That's for everybody. Black, white, man, woman, boy, girl. You can go in there. You can learn about real estate investment. You can learn about stock. You can learn about how to create multiple revenue streams, how to write books, how to create videos, how to do all of these things. That's for everybody. But my mission to close the wealth gap, because it always comes back to that. What is the need for Black people? The need for Black people is to elevate. Well, what's my contribution to that? That's what Black women. And so that's what Net 7 Collective is about. So if you're interested in being a part of the collective, that's the inner circle. That's with me. And that's why I coach you directly. You go to net7bbs.com or you go to bookwithconstance.com. Either or. No, actually just go to net7bbs.com and I'll personally have a one-on-one with you and see if you would be a good fit for it. But if you want to become part of the nation, go to net7nation.com and I'm happy to have a conversation with you about what that looks like. Okay. All right. So for those brothers that said, what about the brothers? I do have the Grow Your Money Club. And that is where you have all types of trainings that's going to help elevate you. You know, people on here said, one lady said, y'all see, if you guys watch me regularly, somebody in the comments says she made $2 million as a result. Somebody else said that they've increased their credit score. Somebody on here watching this, so they've increased their credit score over 200 points. This is not me. I ain't say this. I didn't even think, because remember, if you weren't on here that day, me and Tiara was talking and the lady said she made $2 million. And I was like, dang, Tiara, she made $2 million. What'd you do? And she said, no, Constance, because of you. And I was like, oh, I had no idea. So this stuff, it works. It really does work. And I do it because, again, I see a need. Black people, I see a need. I love Black people. One thing I love almost as much as I love my family and my kids is Black people in general. And so I see a need and I just try to fulfill that need. And so that's the reason why I wanted to have a conversation with you about this dope. Oh God, I'm so excited. A dope individual. This is the thing. Let me just explain to you. And please, everybody, go tell all your people, share this on your pages, because what you're about to see today is going to blow your mind and it's going to inspire you, because legacy is not just about the money that you leave behind. It's about living with purpose, building with intention. It's about creating something that lasts for generations. Our guest today, she has done exactly that, from dressing icons. Y'all, she dressed Biggie, Beyoncé, Jay-Z. She did all of that. All right. So my girlfriend, she did that, to building an empire with her family that spans fashion and spirits and retail and philanthropy, because she does give back. Okay. Let me tell you something. Shay Wood, she is the blueprint. She didn't just build brands, she built a movement rooted in Harlem's soul and global excellence, y'all. This conversation is about legacy, it's about leadership, and it's about leveling up. So I want you to grab your notebook, tell your kinfolk, let everybody know, because class is about to be in session and wealth building is officially in session. Let me show you a little something about my girl.
Today on the Grow Your Money podcast, I am honored to welcome a true mogul in motion, Dr. Shay Wood. She's the powerhouse behind 5001 Flavors, Harlem Haberdashery, HH Bespoke Spirits, and the nonprofit Take Care of Harlem. A Columbia grad, a wife, a mother, a brand strategist, Shay has styled legends like Jay-Z, Beyoncé, and Biggie, all while building a family legacy rooted in culture, fashion, and community. She is the definition of style, strategy, and substance, and I can't wait for y'all to hear her story.
Hey, what's up, girl? How you doing, Miss Shay?
I am fine. Am I frozen on your screen? Because I'm frozen on mine.
You a little frozen, but we can hear you. What's up,
Okay,
ladies?
wait. Well, first of all, let me get unfrozen because I got to get into it. Let me. Am I moving? What's going on?
You ain't even moving, sis.
Okay.
A little bit. What's up with your Wi-Fi?
I do not know, girl, but you got production, quality, videos, music, comments. I'm loving all of it. I gotta get my situation right over here. What is going on?
Man. Listen, I saw your podcast. Don't play with me. I seen the podcast. Do not play. And I wish I had, man, you should have sent me clips from your podcast because I would have showed it on here. That'd have been dope. No, for real. If y'all want to see like real production, like a real podcast, she got it. I'm not even playing.
Well, I mean, can you hear me? Because I don't think you can see me.
I can hear you. But real quick, so what's up with your Wi-Fi? What Wi-Fi are you on? You want to like get off and get back on? I don't want you to.
I must be on a hamster wheel Wi-Fi. Let me get off and I'm going to come right back on.
All right, bet. Okay, cool. I'm going to just talk to him for a little bit while you get off of here, okay? Because I want them to see you. I need them to really understand who it is that we got up in here. Okay, so listen, y'all. So like I said, Shay, Dr. Shay, okay? Dr. Shay, she dressed Biggie and Jay-Z and Beyoncé, and she's right. She has a cornerstone business right in the heart of Harlem. So all of you guys that are in New York, I really want you to visit her store, the Harlem Haberdashery. I think that's what it's called. Let me see. Is she together? She ain't all the way together yet. But I really want you guys to support her. It's all about supporting Black-owned businesses. Why do I say that? Because it has been ingrained in us to not support each other. It is hot as shit in here. It has been ingrained in us to be divisive and be crabs in the barrel. It's so funny because the other day, if you're on my Facebook page, so I've been living in like really nice communities for the last 20 years, right? So I lived in a really nice community in California, where there was like multi-million-dollar homes and on the water and they had yachts and all that stuff. I've never, ever said anything about my community. And so I now live in a very nice community in Maryland, in the DMV. Same thing. It has, mansions and Black. It's all Black though. It's great. It's beautiful. I love it. And so I just posted that I was walking one day and I'm so proud. And it feels good to be in a neighborhood that has all, Black excellence. And so people in the comments was coming for me. That was like, this ain't Black excellence. This is whatever. And I felt so sad for them because it is Black excellence. But other things are Black excellence as well. We're not a monolith. And so I think it's good to celebrate Black people that are doing well, because what we see is a lot of negativity. What we see is, because every time we talk about something, I have people go to my Facebook page. It gets lit over there. But I see people talk about, well, what about Chicago? What about all the horrible Black on Black crime and all this stuff? But then when you show Black wealth and Black affluence, I expect that from white people. It's sad when I hear it from Black people. So it's good to show Black folks that are shining because it gives us something to aspire to. Now, in my old neighborhood in California, we were the only Black people that lived in this neighborhood, an affluent neighborhood. People own wineries and they were, doctors and lawyers and all those things, but we were the only Black people. And when people would come to our home. When my friends' kids would come to our house, they would be like, does your parents sell drugs? That was the first thought. They didn't see Black success. And unfortunately, for a lot of people, they don't see Black success. And so I love to be able to go outside and look at these beautiful homes. And these homes are better, way better than mine. I am not certainly by far not the biggest person in my neighborhood, but now my kids can go outside. They can see somebody in a beautiful home. They can see somebody driving a beautiful car. And that is not the only evidence of success. That is an evidence of success. And they can aspire to say, yo, it's Black doctors, it's Black lawyers, it's Black professionals that are doing the damn thing. For me, that's Black excellence. But for a lot of Black people on that post, they was pissed. I mean, people was yelling. It was the straight debates because of these houses that are occupied by Black people. People were saying things like they don't even give back and they don't do this. They ain't worried about it. And I'm like, how do you know? So we got to get that crabs in the barrel mentality out of our spirit. That's not us. Y'all, Black people are communal by nature. We help each other by nature. You remember it takes a village. You remember they talk about it when our parents were growing up, how the whole neighborhood would come out to whoop somebody and all that stuff. You remember that. That's who we are. And so don't subscribe to this rugged, individualistic, Eurocentric way of thinking that is about, I'm going to get mine, you got to get yours. It's about coming together. That's what I want to promote. It's about practicing collective economics. That's what I want you to understand. It's about supporting each other. I was listening to a Jewish guy named Solomon Barrow, and he said there was a few things he said. He said the reason why the Jews have less than 1% of the population. Listen to this, you guys. They have less than 1% of the population in the United States, but they have over 50% of the wealth in the United States. And there was 3 reasons that he said. He said, one is because we talk about wealth with our children at the dinner table, right? So the expectation is that they're going to be business owners, that they're going to do something. Okay. So number 1, we talk about wealth at the dinner table. Number 2, I'm going to give you 2 reasons. The second reason is because they practice collective economics. This man said they don't do business with anybody who doesn't look like them, and they're unapologetic about it. We have to be so intentional about who we do business with that we don't give a damn. Me, the first person I'm going to always go to, and you can call me racist if you want to, but it's not racist. It's Black love. I am B1. I'm Black first. So I'm going to always support Black-owned businesses first, unapologetically. And if I can't find a Black business to do business with, then I'm going to go outside. And if the Black business, because I know a lot of people say, I don't do business with Black people and all that stupid ass shit. But if the Black business doesn't have quality business, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to give them feedback. Number 1, okay? And then if they're receptive, because I've done this, if they're receptive, I'll go back. If they're not, I'll go to the next, but I'm not going to cancel out everybody. And that's how we need to start acting with one another. We have to be intentional. I said in the beginning, only 3% of businesses in Black communities are Black owned. So we got to start owning our own businesses. And that's the reason why I do the training. And number 2, we got to start being intentional about who we're doing our businesses with. I want to bring on Shay. I don't know if she's ready. I see her down there, but I don't see her picture on there yet. So I don't know what's going on, but that's the reason why I come live here every day, you guys. That's the reason why I'm so passionate about us. I used to always tell my agents that there's such a deficit in our country. There's such a deficit in and there's so much suffering in our community that we will always have work to do. We're always going to have work. If you're trying to be the solution to somebody's problem, you will always have work. Because I'm going to tell you something. In our community, we have some problems. And so how do we become the solution? And so that's what I want you to think about when it comes time to creating your businesses and you put it out there. Don't think of, well, what if I fail? Well, what if I succeed? What if things go right? The failure is an inevitable part of the process. You got to fail in order for you to learn. I want you to fail because that's how you build your character. That's going to be your building block. So that's what we have to think about. So I want you to think bigger than your current situation, your current circumstance. I want you to think bigger than what you see that's immediately in front of you. And that's the reason why I come here, is because I want to show you the possibilities from people who've done it. So, Dr. Shay, somebody said it's all scripted. Ain't nothing that I'm saying scripted, sweetheart. Let me see. Cosmic, what's up? I ain't said nothing that was scripted. That all came from the dome and from the heart. Chicago, wait. Tell them leave Chicago crime alone. Crime is everywhere. Absolutely. What website are you trying to get to? Are you trying to get Charlene? What website are you trying to get to? Okay. Let's elevate one another. Absolutely. Absolutely. What's up, Tamisha? I'm so proud of Tamisha. Tamisha took the Bring Your Idea to Life training on Saturday, and I was able to put a name to a face. Now I'm gonna bring my good girlfriend, Shay. Shay, wait a minute. I see you down there. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can see you. I think you can hear me. I don't know what is wrong with the gremlins today.
All right, we're gonna just make it. We're gonna rock with it.
I am so upset because I am loving the conversation. I tried to log on with my phone. What is going on? What is going on here?
We good.
But can you hear me?
I can hear you good. I mean,
well, you guys can't see me, but I'm cute. That's all I'm gonna say.
that you are, yes, and that, yes.
So you guys can listen to me and see me later. Check me out on Instagram. Follow me on Facebook if you want to see what I look like. I think it's gonna catch up to me. But I'm loving everything that you're talking about. I'm loving all your programs. I'm so excited to be heard here, but not seen.
I appreciate it. No, we can see you. We can see your essence. We do see you. And Zen said Mercury in retrograde. You know, I agree. Listen, today was one of them days. I think, you know, even for me, let me tell you how proud I am of my sons, and we can get to it. This morning I woke up and I was like, fuck, I forgot to tell the boys to take out the garbage. And we had so much garbage because we went to the dump last weekend and we had some garbage left over. And I was like, we got to get the garbage to the thing. But I fell asleep last night, forgot to tell my sons to take out the garbage. And I'm like, woke up at I was working. Then I finally thought about 8 o'clock. Oh my God, garbage comes at 5. What the hell? I get up, I look outside, the garbage is outside. So my boys, which are the most trifling boys in humanity, took out the garbage without me even telling them. So, but you know, that's that Mercury in retrograde thing where like you're just scrambling and everything is just kind of like all over the place. And that's the reason why we see you.
We got to take it as we see it. But so I want to come to all of your events. I need to level up, even though I loved your introduction. But you know, we all got to do what we got to do. I feel like what I do for my business, I'm doing for the community and the world. So I'm super excited to be here with like-minded and like-hearted business professionals, aspiring entrepreneurs to tell my story.
I went to an event that you had back in May. Was it in May? In Harlem.
Okay.
Was it in May? The girlfriends?
Oh, yes, it was. Yes.
That was so dope. So y'all had Tamika D. Mallory. Okay, this girl is connected. Listen, she's connected. Y'all had quite a few, like, you know, influencers there on stage. But it wasn't even just about them being influencers. It was about the quality of the information that you guys were providing. What was the purpose of that, your conference? And when are you guys going to do it again?
So that was part of the BFF experience I do with my sis, Dr. Natasha Leith, also known as Talk to Tosh. And that was an extension of our Support Your Girlfriends group and how we as Black women professionals, we come together, we amplify sisterhood and business together. And so I always say that all of the information I have, just like you, is not just for me, it's for my family, it's for my community. And so I just try to share. I think there's enough room at the mountaintop so that when we succeed, all of us can be there. So a lot of the information and context I have are not just for me. It is for other people. And so it's about just sharing. And it was about having a very different and diverse group of people talking. We had Tamika Mallory, who's of course an activist. We had my brother, Dr. Kels Barnett, who is an influencer, designer, philanthropist, has Take Care of Harlem as his 501c3. We had Ashley Muhammad, who is an iconic designer from Harlem. and we had Tahiri. So it really is about where you are, seeing who you are, and helping you amplify and stay in your lane. And
Right.
so it was the business of friendship. But we were just talking about how instead of just being friends and hanging out, we need to use our friendship to amplify our lives. And
Yeah.
so we had another one in the Life After restaurant, but we're going to have another one coming up. But I'm just about, being in any type of platform that helps amplify my people.
So tell me why is friendship so important to you growing your wealth and growing your legacy? What is it about friendship? Why is it important to have these friends?
Well, it's not only friendship for me, it's also about family. If you know anything about me, I'm a multi faceted person. I have a lot of different brands. I'm part of the first family of fashion. I have multiple brands. Started out with one, didn't know that almost 33 years later, I would have several. And for me, it really was about changing the trajectory of my family and the history of my family. I heard you talk about your TED talk. I did a TEDx Harlem talk. In my TEDx talk, I did talk about how to build life legacy and brand legacy. And what I talked about was me being the first legal entrepreneur in my family. And for a lot of people, they can understand what that means. I have a lot of hustle in my blood from my dad.
Like you said, legal entrepreneur. I heard that.
You heard me, and you know exactly, and everybody feels that. I mean, so I got the hustle from my dad, but he was on the other side of the law.
Mm.
But they have the same skills, but don't have the right influence because it's still about hustle and marketing and economics and customer base and doing what's right. And so I feel like we as Black and brown people always have the skill, the talent, but we don't have is a way to formally monetize our skills. I mean, how many people making good dinners and fish fries and can braid hair? We always do the most. We can do everything with nothing. We make something out of nothing all the time. And so for me, not really knowing what I was doing when I started, my goal is really about how to help my Black and brown family and community members monetize their skills, not to only create a business, but a transferable business. I know you and I talked behind the scenes about not just having a business, but having a business that you can gift to your child or will to your child and transfer. Mm-hmm. And so these are things that I didn't know when I started, because I just started to get to the money.
Yeah.
That's where we all start. I started my first business, 5001 Flavors, in 1992 at a college dorm room at Columbia University. I was a junior. I was 20 years old. I was on a typewriter. I didn't even have a computer. I had a typewriter with no correction. I had a whiteout. I made an invoice. I submitted to Uptown Records and started my business with my, then boyfriend, now husband. And so 33 years later, my custom clothing company, 5001 Flavors, has grown into a multi-brand, multi-generational enterprise.
So let's talk about that. So you started out with 5001 flavor, 5001.
Yes.
Okay, flavors. Then you went to where? So give us a timeline of all of the brands and how they came from each other, because sometimes what people try to do is they try to start off with multiple brands, right? They try to start off with because the Bible says we should have 8 revenue streams in case of disaster strikes. So we should all have other revenue streams, investments and things like that. But people try to do too much. And one thing I tell people is become the subject matter expert at one thing, and then it will open up the door to all these other things. So I want you to kind of go through the timeline of, starting 5001 Flavors and then how all the other things came about.
Absolutely. So in 1992, I was going to school at Columbia University. I was sociology, which was pre-law. I definitely wanted to be a lawyer. Back watching the Cosby Show, was either lawyer or a doctor. You didn't really have anything outside, of aspiring to be anything. I lived right above the law school, and I was like, these kids do not look activated. So I was kind of questioning why I was there and what I was doing. And like I said, my husband Guy was always he was my I was dating him then, but very fashionable, and literally came to me one day and was like, I think I have an idea, like we should start a business. We started 5001 Flavors after him going to some industry shows and parties and getting recognitions for how he looked. And so we started out with styling. And so 5001 Flavors is a custom clothing company that caters to various personalities in the entertainment industry. So I tell everyone to always think like tours, award show, album covers, personal appearances, any and everything that you see an artist wear. Someone, there's a discussion about how they look, what lifestyle, definition are they making about their brand. And so us, it was visual. So we started working with, at that point it was Uptown Records, with Andre Harrell. And one of our first big clients was Heavy D and the Boys. We did Nothing But Love album packaging. So
Up.
yeah, so we started to get a lot of album packaging. And back then everybody read the liner notes, and so we get shout outs as 5001 Flavors. Ultimately working with Hev was kind of like working with the biggest rapper at that time. Everybody's multi-platinum now, but Hev was it. He had the presence. He was able to translate a rap career into a movie career, and into acting on Broadway. And so you started to see how clients kind of had these brands that extended beyond. And so once Hev wore our stuff, and then it was like just referral, a word referral, word of mouth, the photographer that we work with. So literally from Hev's photo shoot, we had 10 other items, to do 10 other shoots. We started working with Horace Brown. We started working with Puffy when he did Bad Boy. We worked with Mary J. Blige. We worked with this new up and coming rapper, Biggie Smalls. So we would go from people from unsigned hype to mega stardom.
Wow.
And so literally from one photo shoot working with Hev, by the next year we had over 100 clients, and have been working, like I said, since 1992. So our clothes can be seen on Lady Gaga, LeBron James. Oh my God, I don't know. I always draw a blank. Cardi B, Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston. So our clothes are in the Smithsonian, in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because we designed items for Hustle, Nipsey Hussle. Yeah, so Nipsey Hussle's outfit that we donated to the Smithsonian is there, and Biggie Smalls has something in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So not only was it clothes, but we also part of history, part of pop culture. So 5001 still exists after 33 years. We still work with the who's who, and now we're kind of multi-generational, because now some of our clients have their own, children who have their own brands and businesses. And so that was, I was able to see like how hip hop grew up, how my family could kind of grow up and evolve. So 5001 Flavors exist, and really thought, okay, so how can we turn this into something that's not so insulated and niche with celebrities? And so Harlem Haberdashery was born about 13 years ago. It is a retail store at 245 Lenox Avenue in Harlem. I want everybody to visit. You can actually follow in all my brands if you go to my Instagram at Shay S Wood, ShaysWood. Follow all my brands as I'm talking.
245 Lenox.
245 Lenox.
I thought that was Malcolm X Boulevard.
It is, officially people call it Lenox, but it's AKA Malcolm X Boulevard.
Is that one N or two N's?
It's one N.
Okay, let me change that. Okay.
Yeah, that's okay. So definitely follow me on Instagram in real time. All my brands, Avenue.
Okay.
Lenox Ave. All of my brands are in my bio. It's easy to click. And so Harlem Haberdashery for us was just an evolution of the lifestyle of the intersection of fashion and clothing and lifestyle. Brought in more of our family members into the brand, so that now 5001 Flavors is now Harlem Haberdashery. And so now you can see there's a brand aesthetic. You can come. 5001 was more consulting, and it is more consulting. And we work behind the scenes with our clients on set around the world. But Harlem Haberdashery allowed us to have a brand aesthetic so that people can see. At this point, my brother's older, my kids are older. My husband and I have a long-standing history in the industry. We have this great celebrity adjacent clientele. So we get tons of really great press because the people behind 5001 Flavors created this Harlem haberdashery. And so it was in Harlem because, that's where my husband got his swag. That's where, my brother has a great influence. That's, my kids, were born. And so it's important to represent Harlem, but also bring quality, a great brand aesthetic. So Harlem Haberdashery is in its 13th year. And so we're proud to be multi-generational, but we're also proud to be in Harlem. And growing up in Harlem, we know how important it is to represent. And so
you go from Harlem Haberdashery, and then what are the other businesses from there?
So the reason Harlem Haberdashery was so important because we wanted people to feel like they were part of our brand, and we know that we work with celebrities, but we feel like there were people who were not celebrities but had their own red carpet moments, and so it really is about just helping people be fly as their own personal brands. But I kept saying to myself, these are so many great opportunities, but once you're in business, there's another business opportunity that presents itself. And so while I was looking for a sponsor for one of my events, I was actually approached by a distiller to have a private line. And so Harlem Haberdashery then grew into HH Bespoke Spirits. We had a curated collection of aroma gin and vodka. It is on sale. I like to say in the same celebratory events that people have on our clothes, they also have our spirits. And so because we have a fashion forward concept, if you look at the bottles on HH Bespoke Spirit, again, you can follow it on Instagram. You can see that each of our bottles are like a celebrity and a personality that we dress. So they have their own different personalities. We definitely got a bunch of awards because our design of our bottle is so impactful and it's gorgeous. During the pandemic, a lot of people were like, well, I don't drink liquor, but I drink water. And so we expanded to HH Bespoke Spirit and Beverages. And we have a bottled alkaline water product that we self-distribute direct to consumer.
By the way, I had some of that water. It was good.
It's refreshing.
So
it really is not about sitting here saying I want to take over the world. It's about being present and seeing that there are other opportunities that present themselves, and how can you set yourself up to have a mutually beneficial relationship with like partners that you partner with or your brand. And so everything for us is under the First Family of Fashion, because not only did we expand from 5001 to Harlem Haberdashery, my brother, Kelsmania, my sis, Ashley Muhammad, my brother, Guy Wood Jr., they each created their own line. So not only, has my entrepreneurial spirit helped me, but it's also kind of blossomed into this really cool generational brand, a family that kind of exists. I think collaborative economics is important. I don't think we work enough with each other. I mean, this is why Black Wall Street is so important, because if we do want to keep our money in our community, we have to help and elevate each other. And I feel like I have too many resources to not share with other people, because all of the information and contacts I meet are not for me. They are for other people. Wow. And so I told my husband this the other day. I mean, they say that you could give somebody fish and feed them for the day, or you could teach them how to fish and feed them for the lifetime. And so for me, my brand of business is about helping my family elevate, helping my family make money, because of course we're for profit, but also I'm trying to change generational curses,
Yeah.
I'm trying to break them and speak to generational strengths.
Yes.
I talk
Generational
about the
blessings.
hustle of my dad. That's a strength. I don't
Yeah.
see that as a weakness.
Yeah.
And so for me, it really is about how can I leave this world and my family a better place than when I came.
So let me ask you. So there's so many questions I have just from what you just shared. But so first of all, what does haberdashery mean? I've never heard that word until I heard your business. Where did that come from?
So a lot of people only think it pertains to hats, but it really is about like those fine underpinnings, like the notions and the buttons and any and everything that you use to kind of dress up. Although we can refer people to hats. It really for
Oh,
us,
haberdashery is a hat. See, I ain't even know.
a lot of people are like, oh, that's a hat store, but it is not. So Harlem Haberdashery does not just sell hats. We
I
sell
didn't know haberdashery meant hat.
for a
I
lot
don't
of
know if I'm
people.
the only one. Anybody in the audience, anybody in the chat know that haberdashery means hats? Maybe they don't have them in California, but I never heard the term haberdashery until I heard of your store, and I was like, what is a haberdashery? Why would they name it haberdashery? Like, what does it mean? They make it up, but what does that mean?
So
Okay.
the crazy thing is HABER in Latin is like to have dash, like to have swag. So it's like,
Ooh.
so it has like multiple, meanings.
Okay, so Paris says she hadn't heard of haberdashery either. So I'm not the only one. I feel a little bit uneducated, like about fashion, because I didn't know what haberdashery was. But as a business owner, and there's so many questions I have. But as a business owner, you've managed to build these very successful businesses. So when you were sitting in your college dormitory and you had this typewriter and you wrote this invoice to Uptown Records, it just happened like that, or like,
So
was there a process to it?
I mean, first of all, the young lady that seriously was sitting at that typewriter had no idea I would be here 33 years later. 5 brands, because there are other brands too that we actually didn't talk about. I literally always knew I wanted to work for myself. That's the one thing I knew. My father had a store in Harlem. I love pressing those buttons. I love the one time he told me I could keep the profits from the sales, and I was hooked. I made like $100 and something that day. And to a 10-year-old, I was rich. Like, I knew it. I saw it. I said, oh, if I give 100, I can make 250. So I understood that. For me, it really was about, like I said, creating my own economy, working for myself. I did have a 9 to 5 because I love that paycheck every other Friday, but I knew that it was limiting in terms of who I wanted to be and how I could move. And so starting a business for me literally was, I don't want to get a job and work for somebody else. I'd rather work for myself. Can't even say that I had a plan. I didn't really understand business. I remember I bought this $5 book. I will never forget it, from the Strand bookstore in New York. It was literally How to Be a Small-Time Operator. I literally read this book one day. It taught me how to start my business. I started as an unincorporated entity and realized that didn't work for me. And the next year.
So I'm sorry to interrupt you. So when you sat down at that typewriter, you had the business already? Like, what was that?
No, I literally did. I literally, when I tell you that I was building this plane as I was flying, I had no concept of how to start a business or what I wanted to do.
How long did it take you to get to the point where you got your first sale?
I would say 3 months. So let me tell you why.
Impressive.
So a guy came to me and was like, I don't even know how you at Columbia. I don't ever see you work. He said, but you must get this stuff done. He was
God or Guy? Your husband?
Guy. Yeah, Guy. My husband. My husband's name is Guy.
Okay.
And so he was like, yo, we got to start a business. He was like, because whatever you're doing to get to an Ivy League school, it is phenomenal, because I don't see you work. So that means you must be getting to it. And I was like, oh, I could do this all day. I could be behind the scenes. So I was the administrative and organizational. And Guy was always the talent. It's easier when you have one person that does one thing. It's a business,
Stay in your lane.
He was absolutely the creative force. So he loved fashion. His mom was a seamstress. Had a very good eye. And so we literally came up with a concept that I would be behind the scenes, the magic maker, administrative and organizational, and he would. At that point, we were just doing styling. And so we realized like we were styling, and styling was kind of new. It was the early 90s. It was the intersection of sports, music, video, like all that stuff coming together. And so we were just trying to create a story. Instantly, we knew that, okay, so now we have to make these clothes because the clothes we want for Hev don't exist. And so custom clothing came. And that's one thing also about an entrepreneur is that you have to be able to pivot. And so instantly we were able to pivot because what we thought we were supposed to be doing, we realized that there was another opportunity. Sometimes we're so connected to this is what I'm going to do, and you don't realize that if the market is telling you no, or if technology is telling you you have to change, that you got to sit down with that roadmap and then draw that arrow the other way. And so instantly so we have to incorporate custom clothing because what we want for Hev is not there. We can't just buy. And so literally we started out with one tailor. And we would make clothes, talk to the production company, the talent. What do you need? This is the colorway. And then we would show up on set. The thing that helped us is that hip hop was young, the money was right. There was a need for our services. Music videos were it was almost like the right time. And so the market received us so well. And so it was easy for us to go from that one job to leave that one job with 10 referrals. And referrals come from everybody. That's why you got to do good business and do great business, because the photographer was a referral. The intern was a referral. The artist became a producer. Hev ultimately became a producer and started working with So For Real. And then he became a head of a record label and had a bunch of artists on his roster. And the legal representative of one of the artists had 7 different artists that were working for. So you never know where your opportunity for expansion. And so word of mouth was very important for us. Social media did not exist in 92 when I started my business. And so I know how to exist without social media. Some people do not. I can remember, helping my friends send out 100 resumes to 100 people and having to go to our house and stuff envelopes. And now that's the click of a button. So I think
they have no idea. Like you have everything at the palm of your hand. You realize that we have more technology than when they put the man on the moon. Like what we have right now, there's no reason why people should not be successful in one way or another, because you have access. It's just how you spend your time. But there was so many things that you said, so many nuggets. Because first of all, you said 3 months. I want to just capitalize on that because that's rare. Everybody's not going to get there in 3 months. And I need people to understand that sometimes it can be a situation where it's overnight. She was able to get there in 3 months. Here's how she was able to parlay that though and leverage that into a full business. Because what happens is when you don't pivot, you die. Yes. There's a lot of people who have these great businesses, and then when things change, they don't want that. I've always done business this way. This is how I know how to do business. I'm not going to do anything different. And then they end up dying. But she was able to, fortunately for her, take her business, create her first client in 3 months. Number one, she did good business.
Yes.
Then she took those referrals and she leveraged them. And she continued to do good business where she was able to leverage those opportunities to other opportunities. Now, had she done bad business, Hev wouldn't have referred her to So For Real, and all of the other things wouldn't have come from that. So it had to start from there. But I do want to ask, because in entrepreneurship, as business owners, there's feast and famine. Everybody goes through that.
Absolutely.
Good and you have bad. I've been there. And so how were you able to not just pivot, but to maintain when there was famine in the land? Like when the sales weren't rolling in like they needed to, how did you continue to exist? What did you do?
So there were 2 things in the early days that, one, you have to get used to running your business. So that's always a learning curve. You figure out what to do, and then you figure out what not to do when you run into a problem. So there were a lot of, learning. But the one thing that I realized is that I didn't know about the multiple, revenue streams. And I realized that, okay, we were doing one type of business. We were marketing to artists and entertainers. And so we had to kind of open up who we thought artists and entertainers were. It wasn't just rap. It was different genres. It was people on Broadway. it was entertainment industry professionals, it was attorneys, it was production company hosts, it was the moms of the celebrities. So one, we had to broaden who our consumer base is. I know a lot of times, sometimes people are stuck on, oh, this is my consumer and this is my demographic. And my demographic were people that wanted to buy our stuff. And so we really had to kind of open up who we thought our customer was. But then it became a point where, especially like around a time like September 11th happened, I realized that the way that we were marketing ourselves, we were just working with artists who wanted to be in videos. And I think at that time, when the world kind of shut down and we realized, oh, we can't just have one type of business that we're doing with one type, with a few type of people. The way that music was distributed started to change. People weren't coming out with these huge budgets. People weren't marketing, it just, everything changed in the industry. And so we started to pivot to work with a lot more athletes at that point, because then that's when the NBA initiated the dressing. Remember they had that. Mm-hmm. And so instantly we had not really been courting sports. Athletes and entertainers were primarily our main focus. And so now we had a huge realization that we were limiting ourselves by staying in a certain lane. And so sometimes the world would give you an opportunity that you didn't even know, or realize. And so literally right around the, September 11th, when albums were not coming out, people didn't want to talk about that. The world was kind of, figuring out what was going on. It really was like one of those times of introspection, much like COVID for a lot of people, that like you have to plan out like how do I move forward? Because if you count on one set of people, if you count on one demographic, if you count on one revenue stream, when it stops, your business stops. Yeah. And so we started to do a lot more sports. And that was great, because now not only are our artists diversifying, our sports stars start to diversify. So when we work with LeBron James and his stylists, and yes, we're doing, basketball suits for appearances, but now he's doing commercials for vitamin water.
Did you do Dwayne Wade when he had those little bitty pants, them tight ass pants? Was that y'all?
We did not. But a lot of things, like when I say some stuff that are really memorable, people remember them. Remember that Nike commercial where LeBron James was all of those characters and he jumped? We did every single clothes.
Oh my God, you should have sent me that. I could have played that for everybody. Okay, that's you. That was you.
I'm gonna have to come back on when I'm moving and not stuck in Frozen. And now I know you got all this fancy stuff. I will send it to you. But yes, that Nike commercial, that was called the LeBrons, that campaign where he was the lone character on the top of the board, and he jumped into the pool, and he was the grandpa and he was the little kid. Well, we did a whole campaign with LeBron. We did a campaign with him with vitamin water. We still make clothes for Shaq when he does all of his icy hot. I don't know if you guys always see him at icy. Yep. Well, we make clothes for Shaq when he was an NBA star. And so now as he progresses on in his career, we also work with him because he's still Shaq. He still needs clothes. Right. So recognizing who your consumer is and then how your business can grow with them has been what has kept our business intact.
I love that. I want y'all to catch this. So for y'all inspiring entrepreneurs and business owners, business is business across the board. You don't have to be a stylist. You don't have to be stylish to own a business, whatever that is. She saw a need, right? So it was like, okay, this is what our niche is. And then they had to kind of expand that as they saw, things getting a little bit low or slow or things starting to change. They had to redirect and say, let's open it up. Let's do something different. Let's expand. So that's so important as business owners, as we're looking and we're seeing the market trends, we're doing our research, we're seeing what's going on. And then we make modifications to our business so that we can still continue to have the business. Because I'm going to tell you, for some people, I don't know if you heard of Sophia Russo. Have you heard of Nasty Gal? You know that designer? Mm-hmm. So she built this $500 million empire. And then 5 years later went bankrupt. Boom, 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 boom. Right. She was in her 20s. I think there was even a documentary, or she had some kind of on Lifetime movie about how she came, but she rose so quick. But because she didn't have those foundational things, is that me? Oh, because she didn't have those foundational things. It says I'm not on Facebook. Because she didn't have, she didn't know how to operate her business. She didn't know how to be a CEO. There were just some basic business fundamental things that she didn't have, that she went all the way up here, and then she came crashing and burning. That's why it's so important that you have the fundamentals of business, your business acumen down.
Yes.
Now, Shay said she learned as she went, but she learned. That's important.
That's important. You have to be flexible. You have to pivot. You have to learn from other people's mistakes. But I also think surrounding yourself with other entrepreneurs and building a network that supports you. A lot of times we build and we have help for like our employees and resources. We as operators also need a network of people to help us. So it is important to mentor other people and help them, but it is also important to fellowship with other business owners that will help you. And also, have business owners and entrepreneurs that speak your name in rooms that you are not in, and that are also looking for opportunities and connections for you. So literally, if I walk into the room and I know that someone is looking for a marketing or creative agency, I'm going to represent and point them to my friend Tanisha Jones of the Alumni Creative agency, because I know that that's what she does. If someone,
and she's good at it too.
Yes, and if somebody wants to get,
that's whack. Right.
If somebody wants to get their hair done, I'm going to connect them to somebody that, if I was not unfrozen, you can see how cute my hair is. My friend Nicole, who does hair, and so it really is about surrounding yourself with people that you don't mind being in business with and you don't mind speaking to. So I think that's important also.
Shay, you said something though about mentors and coaches and training. How important is that to your business? Because a lot of people, they want to get in business, but they don't want to invest in themselves. They don't want to pay what it takes to get the coaching or the training. Everybody want to die. Everybody want to go to heaven. Nobody want to die. Everybody want to get rich. No, nobody want to do what it takes to get rich. How important is it for people to have mentors and coaches and go to trainings?
It's very important, and I see you pushing your great programs. I do speak to emerging entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, established one-on-one. Follow me, Shay Wood. thewoodenterprises.com is my website where you can book a one-on-one also with me. I do one-on-one, one-offs, but I also offer packages where I can meet with you 4, 6, or 10 times, because it is very important that you have a framework. I like to say a roadmap. And a roadmap doesn't necessarily mean if I do these 10 steps, that's it. It's till you get to the next level. And so a lot of times the hardest thing is knowing what to do, because there's so much information out there. You listen to TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. They got you doing everything. And so
get your LLC. This is what they said back in COVID. This is what all the influencers. You get your LLC, and then you get a trust, and you put it in a thing, then you do like this, and bada boom, you got $1 million. Like,
yeah. It is a lot of work, and it's hard, but everything is hard. It's hard getting up or going to a 9 to 5. Everything is hard. It's just, what hard do you choose? And I choose to work for myself. Because I would love to pick a paycheck every other Friday.
Yeah.
But I also know that I am not going to be paid what I'm worth to a company. But I also don't want people to think that being an entrepreneur means that you can't have a 9 to 5 and have an entrepreneurial mindset and do something else. And so for me, being an entrepreneur does not mean that I can't have a 9 to 5, because sometimes you need a 9 to 5 to fuel your entrepreneurial passion.
True. That's true.
I think that understanding now as a 50-something-year-old woman, I'm
on your heels, sis.
Is that a 9 to 5 is one revenue stream, but you could also sell your cakes on the weekend, do hair, sell Avon, sell Mary Kay, sell your crochet, have stuff in consignment. Those are all very different levels.
Not sell your ass.
Those are all very different levels of revenue. But the thing about the multi-revenue stream that's important is that you got money coming in from everywhere.
That's right.
So that you're not dependent on one thing. I know sitting down with a lot of I like to call them scholars that I talk to, because once you graduate, you I mean, from my program, you definitely are schooled. That everyone was like, I'm in COVID, I'm sitting at home, I'm just waiting for it to get back to normal. And I'm like, whoa, if you're waiting for it to get back to a system that didn't work and broke, you're gonna be stuck. Like, this is a new normal. We have to change. We have to change how we think about what 9 to 5 is. Is that working from home? Is that maybe working hybrid? Like, so a lot of times we don't understand that we have to change.
Right.
And so I love people that work 9 to 5. So I don't ever want people to think that when I say entrepreneur, I'm talking about, quit your 9 to 5. But I don't think that this world is set up for a one revenue stream to be all that we can live off of. And that's sad, but it's the truth.
We can't. It's impossible. And as you know, the thing about it is inflation has grown over the last several years, and our paychecks haven't. And so if you don't have, Shay, I picked up and I moved from California, and I kind of basically shut down my business for 2 years. And had I not had multiple revenue streams, there's no way. And if I hadn't had investments, there's no way I would have been able to do it. And I'm grateful for it. And so it gives you the opportunity to choose, your life when you need to make a decision. If the rug gets pulled from under you, if you lose your job, you don't lose your life. And so we have to think bigger. My sister just lost her job. She got laid off and she was totally shocked. I'm like, why are you shocked?
Mm-hmm.
It can happen. Like, did you really think you was going to be there forever? At any given time, they can choose to no longer employ you at any given time. And so it's important that you have something else to fall back on, that you have other things in the pipeline, in the pot, in case something doesn't work out. But I want to shift gears, because I want to ask you something fun. I know you said you talked about Heavy D, you talked about so many people, Beyonce, Jay-Z. Now, who is the most fun celebrity client you've ever worked with? And you cannot say all of them.
So you asked me that, and I was like, oh, I never like to say one person.
The fun one, just the funnest one. Not to say everybody else ain't fun, but who was really?
So to be very honest, as the administrative and organizational person, I don't necessarily get to interact with a lot. A lot of my stuff is invoices. It's not sexy at all. But what I do love is that our clothes are everywhere. And so I would say this for me, and this is like, I didn't even realize I was going to say it until I just said it right now. Like I guess the funnest client I would ever think about is we dressed Elmo one time.
Elmo?
And it was Elmo, the puppet.
Elmo, shut your mouth.
Elmo came in a suitcase. You had to put on white gloves to measure him. I think he won a Grammy, him and his handler. And he had a little suit. But for me, it was a representation of like a pop culture icon. It was really weird, because now it made us realize that we really do contribute to the stylish look and success of our clients. And so it wasn't just about clothes. I really realized at that point, oh, so we're like pop culture history makers, image makers, and our clothing will live in history. And so that's when I really started to pay attention to like our clothes being in like museums and like different institutions and like permanent archives. We have clothes in the Fashion Institute of Technology and permanent archives. We've had some of our clothes exhibited at the Met, in the gift shop. And so for me, I realized that it's not just about fashion. We're making clothes, but we're really making history.
Man, that's so dope. I coach Black women. I have this thing called the Net 7 Collective. And one of the things I have them do is I have them read this book called Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. Malcolm Gladwell talks about in his books, it's one of my favorite books. You're an outlier for sure. Mm-hmm. But one of the things about outliers is that there's a couple of different things. Number one is like being in the right place at the right time. You were certainly in the right place at the right time, right? You being in Harlem, you having, your husband having this fashion sense, connections, you being the administrator, like all of those things were a culmination of you being, you being able to do that. And a lot of people are in situations where they have access to things that other people don't. You had access that like I wouldn't have had in California.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is he talks about it takes 10,000 hours to get to a place of perfection, right? So if you do something over and over and over again, when you get 10, and he used people as example, he used like Bill Gates and he used the Beatles and all of these different people who did something over and over and over again, and then they became proficient and excellent and great at it. This 10,000 hours concept. So a lot of times people will, instead of picking up their phone, they need to be doing something else that's kind of productive to whatever that it is they want to do. But the third thing is not only were you in the right place at the right time, you were the right person in the right place at the right time, right? So a lot of us are in the right place at the right time, but we're not mentally and spiritually and physically the right person in the right place at the right time that are willing to take these opportunities.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is key, because people could say, oh, she got lucky because
Right.
she's in Harlem and then her husband had these connections and then they got hooked up with Heavy D. But you still had to do all the things. You still had to be the right person. You had to have the right business acumen. You had to have all of those things. Now, like this could have fizzled out after a one deal thing, because if you didn't have your shit together, but you were the right person in the right place at the right time, you are an outlier. And I think that's important to people to understand, because there's opportunity that you guys have that you won't do because maybe you think, oh, somebody else is doing it, or maybe it's not good enough, or maybe, whatever reason. But I want you to know that you just have to be, you are, if you want to be the right person in the right place at the right time to do all of those things.
Right. And I'm all about alignment. I definitely think for me, the alignment was being who I said I was and actually doing the job that I said I was doing. But I'm still a work in progress. I think because I'm always elevating and I'm never comfortable with, okay, we did it and now it's over. I think for me, it really is about, I can absolutely coach people on here, how you start your business. This is what you need to do. Like, cause those are all procedural things. But then it's almost like your brand and your business is like your baby. And so, as being a mom, you have to kind of learn and grow with your baby and with your brand and see how it progresses. And you think you're going to go down one lane and then you go in, it's not an opportunity, or they're not funding, and that's the technology doesn't support it. For me, it really is about trying to be who I tell people who I am, who people say that I am. And so I'm trying to live in alignment. But I also know for me that I didn't have these opportunities. I went out there and got them. I didn't know Heavy D. We didn't know Heavy D, but we had a strategy. And so the strategy doesn't always mean at the end that you get what you want, but you learned a lesson, you got a good referral, you followed up. I believe what's for me is for me.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to just go out there and get what's mine. Shining my light, good vibrations, giving good energy, doing good business, have a great product. That's all you can do, and find your customer. But you also have to find your people, and that's people who support you and people who champion your brand. So there's so much alignment that you have to do. I'm also blessed to work with my family and my husband, which is itself really hard, but we're all committed to doing the same thing. So now it's about finding like-minded people that support what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so although people try to separate life and business, to me, it's all connected. Like you can't live one life and then have one type of business life. And so it really is a mindset shift that I think a lot of people have to do. A lot of people say, I want to start a business because I want to make money. And that's not going to be helpful when you realize how much of a commitment it is, and how much of a family job it is for you being an entrepreneur, and how your family may need to help you or support you and do this or repost and like. We have a family group chat, and my brother will be like, okay, I ran up a caption, a post. I need everybody to like, share. You have to work in collaboration with other people. And I think for a lot of people, being a sole entrepreneur to them means that they're a lone wolf, and you can't work like that. You have to find a community of people, family, entrepreneurs that support you and that you can support. I'm all about mutual beneficial relationships.
Mhm.
So it's not about just taking from somebody. A lot of times people are like, oh, I want you to be my mentor and I want you to give me everything I need. And that's, you have to pour into someone.
Reciprocity.
Yes, you have to pour into someone before you can take out.
Right. Yeah.
So the most important thing is I love talking to entrepreneurs, and I always ask them, what's your why? Why are you doing this? If it's I just want to make money, I could feel you.
Mhm.
But a lot of times, what's the why?
That's
Like,
not sustaining. That's not going to last.
yeah,
Because when you get tired of it, and when the money ain't coming in, then you're going to give up.
Yeah, and for me, my why was I'm trying to change my family history. I say in my TEDx talk that my brother was our generational curse breaker. He was the first male in my family that was not incarcerated, that
Wow.
went to college, that got a master's, and that was because I said before, it's like, generational curses ran into my family until they ran into me, and I
Mm.
decided I'm here to change my family. And so for me, entrepreneurship has been what changed my family's generational curse.
I love that. So many things I want to say from that, but I do want to ask you this, because we're going to wrap it up. We've been on here a while, and I know you got to get, but I know I mentioned in the beginning, you have a podcast and you recently launched it. I think it's called Family Style.
It is. So yeah, there's a few more things that I do. I'm also board president of Take Care of Harlem. That's my brother's
That's your nonprofit, right?
That's my brother's 501c3. We call it the philanthropic arm of Harlem Haberdashery. We are deep in our Cool for School. That's our hashtag movement. We just did a college shower. So if you follow me on Instagram, please do. You see that we are still collecting for our college shower. We collect items off of the registries so that we have two young people that we support. So when they go to school, they have everything they need for academic and social success. We also have a school supply drive where we outfit 1,500 kids a year with backpacks and school supplies. So we have that coming up September 13th. So you'll start to see me ask for some donations for the kids to go back to school. So that's our philanthropy, because we do believe that you can't just consume from the community in Harlem. You have to give back. We want young generations to see that you can be from the community and thrive. My family is a wonderful mix of funny personalities, and we would have our monthly all brand strategy call meeting, and we cannot get any work done because they're talking about 17 unrelated things that are funny, discussion, a debate. And so I said, we need our own show. So ultimately we started our own podcast, HH Family Style. Again, you could follow through my Instagram. It is a podcast. We are on our third episode. We're live on YouTube on the HH Family Style. So please like, subscribe, comment, watch, share. We're about to put out our audio version of our podcast. But yeah, so we're looking and talking to some great networks about our great conversation. But it's called the HH Family Style, but we do not mostly talk about fashion. We call it that because we have every person in our family bringing a little bit of something to the table. We talk about mental health. We talk about Black excellence. We're talking about, growing up in New York, breaking generational curses, how we can influence our kids to be better people. And so it's a really frank discussion between the generations of our family. So it is a great expansion, and you get to see 4 founders, 1 family, 1 legacy.
That is true intergenerational legacy. Oh my God. So, Miss Shay, you are so multifaceted. Was there any other businesses that you had that you didn't mention? Because you said you had 5.
And then the my coaching that I do through the Wood Enterprises, I do my one-on-one, business consultation. People come to me with fantastic ideas after I talk, and they want to talk my head off, and I'm like, hey man, let's just do one-on-one because personalized. I think that everyone has their own why, but they also, you know, in the comfort of a one-on-one discussion, have things that they don't want to say in group settings. So that's always great. And then I also offer different coaching packages. But, you know, it's important to have your own business, but it's, like I said, it's important to also help others, you know, gain the autonomy of being of being entrepreneurs and getting into entrepreneurship. So there's a few things I do behind the scenes. You know, I'm still kind of the matriarch of the first family of fashion. So give a lot of advice, you know, to my brothers and sisters and cousins, but also take a lot of advice because the young kids here are taking over. And so we can learn, but we could also help each other out.
That is so amazing. So before we head out here, do you have any final thoughts that you want to share with the audience and where they can find you? I want to make sure that you guys go follow Shay. You guys watch her podcast. You involve. There's a lot of people on here from New York. Make sure you go out to Harlem. Go to Harlem Haberdashery. Say hi to. Are you in the store at all, Shay?
I'm not in the store. Usually on Fridays I am. Okay. So on Facebook and LinkedIn, it is my full government name, Sharene Wood, ShareneWood. But on all other social medias, I am at Shay S. Wood. That's ShaysWood. I can tell you Instagram is probably the easiest way to get in contact with me. Follow me. Through my Instagram, you can link to all of my wonderful first family fashion brands. You could follow the podcast, but definitely then on YouTube, look for me at HH Family Style.
Man, let me tell you something. If you got some nuggets today from Miss Shay, and we're gonna have to have you back because I gotta let the people see how beautiful and gorgeous you are. I know if they go to your page, you'll see, but I really need to see people. I need people to see what you actually look like so they can really, really hear and see beauty as well.
Because I'm not frozen or stiff. But as long as they can hear me and I feel the love and I see some of the comments, I'm trying to look at everything at one time. I'm not,
great dropping gems,
because you rocking this platform, Constance. I'm so proud of you, and thank you for your recommendations for me. Like I said, we learn, but we can also share. So I have no problem telling everybody I'm going to go do my living trust for my real estate transaction. Thank you, Constance, for that. I'm doing it Tuesday, and next week I'm going to talk to my brother and do his. So
yay!
I'm moving.
Yeah. So her and I had a conversation last week, and she was like, "Well, wait, you got a mortgage company? Wait, let me ask you a question about some real estate." And so I said, "Hey, but here's the thing I love about Shay. She's not just a hearer, she's a doer. Like she did it. Like she had the living trust done." She's like, I said, and I checked in with her dad. I said, "Hey, she told me she had it done." I was like, "Dang, you are so freaking dope. Like you did it." Because people will, get it. They won't do it. And she said, I said, "So what happened?" She said, "I'm recording it today after I go live with you. I'm gonna go down there and get it recorded. I got everything done with the deed, everything." Like she did it. So
did it.
That's everything. Like my heart is exploding because she didn't just download, because I came up with this a few months ago. So what happened was I was on here talking about how to protect your assets because so many people die. I've lived in affluent areas for the last 20 years. Before I moved here, I was in California. We were the only Black family. Everybody was white. And so when I went over there, I was trying to see who all lived in the neighborhood, and I couldn't see because everybody had their houses in living trust. I was like, what the hell is this? Then somebody died. And I had a client that died. Like it was a young couple. They're like 28. 8 months after we sold them the house, they died. And then the house had going into probate and all this stuff. So I learned, what the importance of having a living trust was, because most people didn't know. I'm coming to Maryland. I live in this equally affluent black community. And I go look up, see who all live in my neighborhood. Guess what? I can see, because you know why? Nobody got living trust. Nobody. So there's a difference in how we, we're trying to build wealth, but we got to protect our assets, and we got to pass them on. And so we were having a conversation on here, and I said, I was updating my living trust because I paid $3,000 for my living trust, and I was updating it on ChatGPT, and I was like, all you gotta do, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, let me go ahead and make a ebook on how to create your own living trust using ChatGPT. Did it, came up with ebook, put it out there. Hundreds of people bought it, maybe even thousands by now. And you guys have bought your ebook, and people are making their living trust. So that's what Shay did, is she was able to create her living trust. and now she's getting ready to go record it, which is wonderful. But let me tell you what I love about this conversation with you, Shay, is that your story proves that your idea, when you have a vision and when you have a strategy and when you have heart, because she said, what's my why? This can also become intergenerational legacy. She didn't just build her brands. You built the blueprint. And so you have, the thing that you could take and you could put anywhere. That's where the real power is. That's transferable.
Yes.
Right? That's transgenerational, but that's transferable. That's how you're able to create all these different businesses. And that's where the real power is turning what's from your head into something that can really change lives. It could change families. It could change communities, like the philanthropy you guys are doing. The fact that this is your business, you're practicing collective economics. You have the entire formula of what it means literally to be Black excellence. And I love that about you. And I'm really, really proud of everything that you're doing. So,
thank you, Constance. And I wish that for everybody. I wish everybody could have the mindset shift and the alignment with who they are and who they want to be. I think it's really important that if it doesn't serve us, that we love ourselves enough to change it. I think the hardest part is, I wasn't born into the family. I don't know. I think that everybody is worthy of a mindset shift at some point in their life to get to where they want to go. So you are there, I am here. You just have to go out and get the resources to help you get to where you want to be and who you want to be.
That's it. It really is a decision, Shay. It's really a decision. And I think once you make that decision, God is going to do everything he can to make it happen for you. But you got to be intentional, and you just got to make the decision. You got to stop sitting on that thing. Like, you just really just got to do it.
Yes.
Just do it. Just be like Nike and just do it. Like, stop allowing fear to get the best of you. That's the reason why I did the Bring Your Idea to Life training last weekend. This is going to be a monthly training that I'm doing. And I've taken it from 1 day to 2 days because I want to help other people that have an idea, that have a dream, a skill, a business, to bring it to life so that they can take it, go from ideation to manifestation to monetization.
Yes.
So I'm doing
that's key. Monetization is key.
Ain't nobody working for free, sis.
No. And even in charity, you don't work for free. You work for donations.
Exactly. So I'm doing another training on, I took it from 1 day because it's so much information, because Tamisha was there. She said it was so many gems. But I took it from a 1 day to a 2 day because it's a lot. And it's like, drinking from a fire hose. And I want to make sure everybody gets what they need. Of course, there's all these other things that are added into there. But if you guys are interested, I'm doing it again. Bring your idea, the number 2, life.com. Sis, I got to have you on here again for real. Because
yes, I got to get my technology together. I'm going to be back, and I'm going to be even cuter that day. How about that?
Hey, damn. Girl, go stay on here real quick after we go off, but go and get your living trust recorded. And I want you to show me when you've gotten it all done and everything is set up. Because your mother-in-law's, you said, in her 90s. And so this is really critical because you don't want anything to happen. You're protecting your family. And so I commend you on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.